I want to talk about Iran's retaliation and what we know so far. You know, in the intro that I sort of teed up, it seems like they've targeted sites in Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE. Many of these countries have intercepted these missiles. What do you make of the retaliation?
Well, I think it shows that the Iranians believe they're playing for all the marbles this time. Past rounds of violence between the United States and Iran directly have tended to end in Iranian strikes that, look, I don't want to diminish it. Every time ballistic missiles are shot at a base where, American troops are present, it's dangerous. But strikes that really were on some level symbolic. The strikes against al-Assad after the killing of Soleimani in 2020, the strikes against El Udeid in Qatar after the Operation Midnight Hammer last June. I mean, to some extent, these were telegraphed. The El Udeid one certainly was telegraphed. The Americans were prepared. Everything was gone, and we decided not to retaliate. And it was kind of a punctuation mark that allowed the Iranians to save some face without really, without killing Americans in either case. Now, this time you saw them basically pull the trigger with their ballistic missile capacity and their drones. A very dramatic video of a drone hitting a target at the U.S. Naval station in Bahrain. Right away. And they are hitting to cause damage, and they are hitting to cause harm. They are certainly looking to cause casualties here. They're probably not at the most intense they could get yet. There are other tools in their toolbox to include acts of terror, which may take a few days to get up and running if they really want to take it up to the max and really want to harm Americans. I also saw a report, Rafaela, that they've proclaimed that the Strait of Hormuz is closed.
Mhm.
Good luck to them on that. I think our Navy and military have probably anticipated this, so I wouldn't want to be the guy in the Iranian Navy or rocket force trying to enforce that. But they're swinging, and they're swinging hard.
Jay, what is the most intense scenario you can imagine in terms of retaliation? They obviously have still a very sturdy ballistic missile program. What's the worst case scenario here?
I mean, their air defenses have been gone essentially since June. So
Mhm.
they're playing against time because U.S. airstrikes are going to be targeting any missile launchers that the Iranians have. So I think what we're seeing now is, they don't have that big a window, I don't think, to retaliate because the U.S. and Israelis are going to be targeting, all these air defenses, all these operational offensive air operations. And I also would say one of the interesting things is we've seen the Saudis come out pretty aggressively against the Iranians. The Saudis had essentially been trying to sit this out from as far as we could tell. From years past, they were very aggressive at pushing the U.S. to take the head of the snake, which is in Tehran. They had been sitting out and they got hit. So they've already sort of put out pretty bellicose statements to the Iranians. So I think could be a strategic error from the Iranians if they're just going to indiscriminately hit these Arab partners. But I think the worst case scenario probably is they do succeed in somehow really shutting down those strategic waterways, whether it's the Strait of Hormuz or the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, where the Houthis kind of sit and could really launch attacks. That is the major oil choke point in the world. And I think that is probably, besides hitting Israel really hard, globally shutting down those strategic waterways are the biggest impact. But as Aaron was saying, good luck to you, because we have a lot of air power and a lot of military power in that Gulf, particularly focused on keeping those waterways open.